Hi students, what's up? This is Mr. Ivan. Okay, you are probably here because don't understand very well about vectors. This topic is being split up into several parts. Okay, so this is the first part about basics of vectors, magnitude, and changing from coordinates to vectors and vice versa. Okay, so let's dive in. Vectors is like a coordinate. Okay, so if you have a coordinate x comma y, x being your x coordinate, okay, if you express it in vector, it will start from O, it will start from the origin. Why is this so? Because all coordinates are relative to origin. So for example, if you have 3 and then 4 here, okay, so this would mean that this point A is 3 comma 4. Alright, now if you're going to draw a line from here and it says it's from O to A, then the vector would be 3 on top, 4 below. Okay, so if you have another vector, it doesn't matter how your vector is, how your coordinate is going to look like. So for example, let's say I have a coordinate here, which is -1, 4. My x coordinate being -1. So, and then let's name this B. Okay, so if B has a coordinate of -1, 4, then the vector of B would be OB, and it would be -1 on top, 4 below, x on top, y below. Okay, and in your coordinate geometry, how do I find the length of OA? If I want to find the length of OA, this means that my x coordinate is 3, my y coordinate is 4. It is a Pythagoras theorem, so it will be square root of 3 square plus 4 square, and you get equals to 5 units square. Okay, so in general, any magnitude just means length. Okay, magnitude is in the form of square root of x square plus y square. So how do we represent magnitude? It is the vector with a they call it modulus. Okay, but modulus has been taken out from your syllabus, so which is just like a 2 goalposts with the vectors in between. So that is how you find the magnitude. Next, you may always hear your teacher say vector has both magnitude and direction, but they only stop at that. You do not understand what does magnitude and direction means. Okay, magnitude just means length, like what we did in the first part. Direction means if they are pointing to the opposite direction. Okay, different direction matters. Okay, so this part I'm going to talk about is how does direction matters. For example, if OA is equals to XY, OA, let's say OA is in this direction, okay, and OA is called, from your first part, 3, 4. Okay, now it just means that another vector that is in the that has the same length but pointing in the opposite direction is called AO. And this guy is equals to -3, -4. It just means that it's pointing to the opposite direction. And OA is not equals to AO. So this is the difference between something that has direction and no direction. So if you have any vector that has xy, AO just means the negative of x and the negative of y. Just like that. Okay? Something like if, let's say, P is in this direction, okay, and it is like 3, -2. Okay? So I draw something that is in the opposite direction, but okay, it must be exactly the same length. It's just the difference is pointing in the opposite direction. Negative P is going to be -3 and 2. Give the negative to both the x and the y. Okay, so this is the meaning of having magnitude and direction for a vector. The next part on scalar multiplication, it just means that multiplying a constant in front of the vector. So the constant is multiplied to both the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so if A is equals to 1, -2, and B is equals to 3 times of A, what does this mean? This means that B is equals to 3 bracket 1 -2. Okay, multiply the 3 to both the x and the y coordinate, so this will be 3 -6. Now, geometrically, what does it mean? Okay, it means that let's say A is this 1, -2, okay, at this length. 3A just means that it is 3 times of A. Okay, so this is B, which is equals to 3, negative 6. It just means that there are 3 of A, okay, and they are pointing in the same direction. Okay, and they are pointing in the same direction. Now, what happens if the scalar multiple is a negative? Okay, so for this case, C is equals to negative 4 of A. I put negative 4 and I put the vector of A here. This would mean that this is equals to negative 4 and 8. Okay, same thing. A is pointing in this direction with this length. Now, what does negative 4A means? Means number one, this magnitude of C is 4 times the length of A. Okay, but it is pointing in the opposite direction. Anything with negative means it's in the opposite direction. So there are 1, 2, 4 times the length of A, but pointing in the opposite direction, negative 4A. Okay, so if you multiply a scalar in front, it just means that the length gets bigger, or it could be the length could get smaller if the scalar multiple is like lesser than 1, like half or 1/4. Okay, and they are pointing in the same direction. So if pointing in the same direction, if k is greater than 0, but it is in the opposite direction if k is lesser than 0. Okay, hope you understand this part on the basics of vectors, especially about the magnitude and direction part. Next part, I'm going to talk about parallel property. If you feel that this content has been helpful to you, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, as well as take a like in our Instagram and my own personal Instagram, Mr. Ivan. See you in the next video.